Hello and welcome to the Infectious Group Podcast, part of the Odd Pods Media Network. Recorded at the 33 1/3 Music Appreciation Center in Speakeasy, located just outside of Detroit, Michigan. The Infectious Group Podcast is your source for jammy jams, music news, and the best in-depth music discussion. Thanks for joining us. Now here are your hosts.
Hello. Welcome to the Infectious Group Podcast. My name is Russ, and along with me remotely is Kyle and Michelle, because I went and did it again. I had to travel out of the state for work. Hey, this time I wasn't just gallivanting about. I had to go out of the state for work, and I was in what many people consider to be one of two of the worst states you can travel to for COVID. So Michelle and Kyle have once again chosen to protect their child and do this episode remotely. I don't know why you guys have to be all uppity about this kid. But...
Maybe you should just quit your job.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I will actually, so we're recording this episode way early. We're recording it on a Thursday. By the time this episode comes out on Monday, I'll just do that. I didn't even know that was an option. We are now living in a post 100 episode world for all of us, not just Kyle and myself, but Michelle as well. There was a whole Michelleabration that occurred for the 100th episode, and we got a ton of great feedback. On this particular episode, we are coming back to our album reviews, and it is my choice. Hooray. I'm so excited. And I will get into why. We're actually going to review an Elvis live album called Elvis as recorded at Madison Square Garden. And I will get into why when we get into the second half of the show, because we do, as a show, I don't even think we really have a rule, but we kind of had like an unsaid thing that like we wouldn't do greatest hits or live albums for reviews, because live albums in many ways are just greatest hits packages. You know, they're just like, just.
What happened with that weekend record that snuck in there too? So let's see. Kyle broke the rules and Russ broke the rules.
No, that's not greatest hits or a live album.
Yeah.
No, but it was a threefer.
Yeah.
Hey, that's between you, Kyle, the Weeknd, and the Lord. That's got nothing to do with me. Anyways, in the second half, we are going to get back into our album review series, which is my pick, and I'm really excited about this particular one because I think that this is one Michelle doesn't hate. So I'm pretty excited about knowing that in advance, that she doesn't hate it. We're looking for this to be more than a 5, but we'll get to it. I don't want to spoil it. Having said that, as we always do, we're going to kick things off with it. We have quite a bit of feedback. Plus, we don't like to use this type of language on the show, but I fudged up, and I'm going to own up to it and get into it in just a second.
Feedback, Joe.
Don't worry about that. Right. Where's rock and roll be without feedback?
So I fudged up in two ways. We had all these amazing clips and things that people sent us for the 100th episode. And not only did I miss an email that someone sent us that's been a very supportive listener of the show, but I also missed a clip someone took the time to send us. And I had it all done, did the same thing I did with all the other ones, put the music in the background of it. It's a great clip. And then I put it in a totally different folder than I meant to. And it did not get included with what we.
Damn it, Russ!
I know.
Oh man, I bet you when they were listening, they were like, what?
So the person in question more or less sent me a message being like, "Oh yeah, my message was kind of bad. I said a lot of ums and ahs." And I was like, "No, I screwed up. Like you didn't. Your message is fine. Like it's me. I screwed up." And so I promised them that they'd get their own showcase, and so we're going to do that in a second.
I'm going to take that clip of you saying that,
right,
and put it on my thing.
If only you knew how to work any piece of electronics, I would feel in danger.
Grandma doesn't technology.
Yeah.
First of all, I figured out Mike today, and second of all, I figured out your Bluetooth problem. So
moving right along. So we had an email from a listener named Mark, who's been very supportive of the show from day one. And actually, I think I met him through like a vinyl Facebook page or whatever else, and he's been supportive of the show ever since. He says, "Congratulations to you, Kyle and Michelle, on making it to your 100th episode. I love the show. You were asking for favorite albums and why you like them. Two of them for me that are must-haves are Deep Purple's Come Taste the Band and Alice Cooper's Special Forces. Come Taste the Band features Glenn Hughes, David Coverdale, and Tommy Bolin, and it's unlike anything Deep Purple has done, and it's just fire from start to finish. Bluesy, soulful, and there's a couple of rockers in there too. Special Forces is one of Alice Cooper's Blackout albums, and I discovered it around 1985 and 1986. I love every song on it, and there's not cohesive at all. It sounds more like a compilation album than the way the songs jump around. Who Do You Think You Are? 7 and 7 is You Look Good in Rags, Vicious Rumors, Generation Landslide, Prettiest Cop on the Block. Just amazing. Congrats again on the 100th episode, and keep them coming. So, Mark, I apologize that I did not get to read that during the 100th episode, but you, along with the next person that I'm going to play a voice clip from, get your own special corner of the feedback this week. So here comes the voice message that I feel so badly that I left out of the first episode.
Hi, this is Pat from Minneapolis calling. I wanted to call and share an album that has had a significant influence on my life and seems to always find its way back into my life, as I've owned it now 3 different times. And I don't know why I keep getting rid of it, but it keeps coming back because it's just an album that speaks to me. And every time I hear it, I just have to have it again. So that would be Blind Melon Soup. Russ and I go way back, and he's had to hear me talk about this album over and over and over again. It is just, in my eyes, a masterpiece. There are no 2 songs on that album that are alike, and every song has a different meaning. And it starts off with Galaxy, which is a phenomenal track, real upbeat. And then, songs like Mouthful of Cavities, which is one of my favorite all-time Blind Melon songs. It is a fantastic album, and if you have not listened, it's definitely something that I would recommend.
So we greatly appreciate that voice message from Pat. And Blind Melon is one of those bands that I think almost everybody thinks instantly of, not only the first album, but the one song, No Rain, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And Shannon Hoon, I don't care, even if all you've ever heard in your life is No Rain, Shannon Hoon had an amazing voice, like a very unique, amazing voice.
Had?
Yeah, on account of having passed away like 25 years ago. Yeah. Oh, no, did I just break news to you? Oh, no, did you just learn, did we just bring back music news segment on accident?
Yeah, this is breaking news. I need a minute.
Oh. You're so broken up about the passing of Shannon Hoon that many years ago that you need a couple of minutes now.
Yeah, go on.
So having said that, I feel terrible laughing about all of that. But having said that, Shannon Hoon had such a unique voice, and I would argue that it's way more on display on that second Blind Melon record than the first one. And I don't like Pat's verbiage on that, saying I've had to hear him go on about that record. I love that. You guys know I'm always the guy that's like, oh, you need to hear this album by that band. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always the champion of the record that's not the most popular one. Okay, so you knew about that, just not Shannon Hoon's passing.
I did, yes.
Okay. We have one more voicemail, and this is a general. Now we're just moving on to feedback in general. This, from here out, is not things I screwed up.
Oh, well.
I'm taking a lot for granted here, assuming I didn't
You
screw
are.
up.
Beard Owl Podcast. And hey guys, it's Lauren from the Beard Owl Podcast. And I just wanted to tell you that I love how the 100th episode of your show turned out. I think y'all put it together super well. It was a lovely balance between who you are, who your listeners are, and the love of music just permeated the entire thing. And I am so looking forward to hearing what you have to do for the next 100. I don't know, like 100, 1,000, like 100,000 million episodes. Am I shooting my shot too far? I don't know. But anyway, congratulations, and I love it. Okay, bye.
Sometimes Michelle has her camera on during these remote episodes, and sometimes she doesn't. And today I had the benefit of seeing her head shaking firmly no. So you would answer Lauren and say she in fact did shoot her shot too far with 1,000 or 100,000 episodes.
100,000, 100% too far.
Okay. So noted, and I will pass that feedback on. That's great to know. Okay, now I'm going to read some general feedback that we got, and a lot of this is Michelle centric, as you know. Generally how it goes. You know how during the 100th episode we talked about how we love that people do a lot of callbacks with things we say on the show?
Yes.
Okay, so I think you'll remember this being said, Michelle. Thanks for coming, the RuPaul Drag Race podcast. And of course, Seth wrote to us, this is very embarrassing to admit, but I would like to confirm that I have in fact heard Michelle speak, looked at my phone, and shit my pants. Please don't judge me. I'll remember that moment every day until I die, and I will not remember it fondly. We were wondering if that happens to people, and it's been confirmed that it does happen.
Seth had a oopsie poopsie.
An oopsie Michelle poopsie.
I did the math, and if we were to do 100,000 episodes, if we did one episode a week, there's 52 weeks in a year. It would take us 1,923 years. So,
okay, quick question. Ever since the pumpkin spice latte incident, why are you peacocking with math all of a sudden?
It's my strong suit.
Oh, is it using calculators? Good Lord.
Well, you're supposed to tell them my brain.
Right. Listener Dayton writes us, and we actually have two pieces of feedback from Dayton because he sent us one right before the 100th episode, and then we didn't do our normal segments, and he sent one since then. So the first piece of feedback from Dayton says, I'm really enjoying your podcast. I'm working my way backwards through the episodes. The double album release of the 1991 Year in Review was great. I was one of those that waited in line to buy the Black Album. I still have my CD copy, but Pearl Jam 10 is probably my favorite from that year. I was in college and working in college radio, so I was exposed to a great deal of music that year. I used to think I knew a lot about music, but Russ and Kyle's knowledge of music makes me feel a little inferior. No worries, Michelle's knowledge makes me feel better. Just kidding. However, because of your show, I have started listening to Casey Musgraves, Lake Street Dive, Jen Wigmore, and more. Keep it up, which I think is fantastic. I think that's great. That was the whole point.
Now read the other one where I get a compliment.
It's coming. Jesus Christ. All right. It's coming. Dean from the UK writes in and says, guys, this is fucking amazing. Huge congratulations to all of you on this reaching this feat, and here's to many more. I just got caught up on the last 2 episodes, and I can't thank the 3 of you enough for the great content on the podcast and the YouTube channel. The Infectious Group podcast has been instrumental in renewing my somewhat fading interest in picking up records from other artists outside of my normal rotation, and I definitely won't be the only one in this boat. Thank you for all the new music you guys have shown us along the way and providing great interviews with musicians. And how cool was that of Bumblefoot to remember to send a little note in? What a champion. So I thought that was cool.
People listen to us in the UK. That's fucking cool.
Yes, it is. Yeah, well, you have Will as well. Will, huge fan. Jamie Porter writes in and said he, at the time he was listening to the 100th episode, and he said, I'm listening now. This is so much fun. To sum up one of the most profound things I've heard on this show, good music takes you back to a time and a place. Great music takes you back to a time and a place you've never even been, which I think was the point you brought up, Kyle. And, I was talking about it too with Sinatra, where like you can hear a Sinatra song and be like, all of a sudden I've been in a time and place I never was.
Yep, exactly.
The next piece of feedback we have is from a Twitter listener who goes by the handle EMZ that says, just finished listening to part 1. Love the story about the guy who had money and bought 5 CDs or tapes. Also, was it this episode that Michelle said that someone did a thing somewhere? That had me in stitches. I'm exactly the same way with news. Hashtag Team Michelle.
Yes.
So I thought that was great. Dayton, who I said earlier had a piece of feedback from us earlier, said, another great episode. I regret not submitting my own clip for your 100th episode celebration. On your 200th celebration, Michelle-ebration, I will do it for sure, he says.
Yes.
I have to ask, when did Russ and Michelle work at Media Play? I worked at Suncoast for 5 years in the late 90s, so we're kindred spirits. Keep up the great work. Michelle, do you have any clue when we worked at Media Play together?
I started in 2002, and then it shut down in 2005.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, you do remember. Hooray.
Yeah. I was 16.
Listener Pat from Minneapolis, who had the voicemail for us earlier, has a direct Michelle quote from the last episode that says, to be fair, I thought he was Scott Stapp when you were referring to Scott Weiland, and it said mother of God. That made me laugh. Lastly, I'm going to round out the feedback with a voice message, or I'm sorry, a review that we got that was absolutely wonderful. And we never really ask for reviews anymore, but we should. If you want to take the time to go to whatever app you use to listen to us and leave us a review, it really does help the show out a lot. And today we got a 5-star review that said, the perfect group of people and a great discussion is the title. And it says, I love this show. As a lifelong music nerd, this is exactly what I need in a podcast. Russ, Kyle, and Michelle are 3 very different music minds, and that's just right. Coming from 3 different tastes, it gives you a real feel for the material on the album reviews and the different perspectives on the discussions. Russ's depth of musical knowledge keeps everything grounded, and I learn something on every episode. Kyle comes in with the diversity and gives me a glimpse of music I would not otherwise really hear about. Michelle, though, is trying to fool you. She knows quite a bit about the artists that she's passionate about. This show keeps you laughing and opens your eyes to great music. Thank you guys for making my commute bearable every week. Keep up the show and keep the music spinning. So I think that's fantastic. Now, Now, when I shared that earlier today, Michelle, what was your immediate response?
I know things.
In all caps. It was, see, I know things.
That is true.
My favorite thing, though, is it was a very nice, very well worded, very well thought out thing where they complimented each of the three of us and how we work together. And your immediate thing was, I'm the best.
Yes. Have you met me?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I have. All right. So that is all the feedback that we have. You can get at us on all sorts of social media, infectiousgroupodcast.com. You can leave reviews for us. You can call our hotline at 313-364-9899. If you need to get in touch with us, you can. If you contact me personally, I will give you Michelle's home address to deliver any messages in person that you want. So that's also another way.
Or send me presents.
Or send her presents. All right, moving right along. Our jammies. So I have been listening to a great deal of Adele this week, but I still have not heard the new single that she put out, but it was because of the new single that I went back and was listening to a bunch of stuff that I love. And I will always love her first album the most. I think her first album is absolutely fantastic. And this whole week I've listened to on repeat Chasing Pavements and Right as Rain, because Chasing Pavements was the first Adele song I ever heard. And Right as Rain is still my favorite Adele song. She's never done another song like that, like an upbeat pop song. I don't think she ever will again. And I just love that song so much. So those two have been in heavy rotation for me. Kyle, what were your jammy jams?
So JoJo put out a new album recently. Well, okay, it's an EP, so it's not.
Oh, God.
There's 11 songs on it, but it says it's an EP, whatever. It's an album.
Yeah, that's an album for sure. No need to be confused, Michelle. That's an album.
Thanks.
If anyone is confused about who JoJo is, she had that Leave, Get Out song, and then Too Little, Too Late.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was the other half of Casey.
Go on, Kyle.
Oh, my. So this is like her first. I think she was in some bad record contracts and a bunch of shit for the last like couple years. So this is her first thing that she's put out in full since then, and it is good shit.
Right on. That's so weird that they're calling it an EP. Is it like a lot of interludes and only a few songs, or
there is 2 interludes, 10 songs, and 2 interludes.
That's not an EP.
No, I don't know. I guess they're using that term loosely.
Yeah, for sure. Is that all you got, or have you been listening to some other stuff?
So that, and then when we went to go see City and Color in concert, Dallas Green had played a snippet of an Alexis on Fire song, which then got me. He actually mixed one of his songs with an Alexis on Fire song after the show, and it was badass. But that got me wanting to go listen to more to them again. So I've been listening to Crisis as well. I don't know which. They have several albums. I'm not sure what in the order that is, but it's one of their albums. It's Crisis.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Michelle, what have you been listening to?
So I just let it play after I listen to the Elvis record every time on Spotify. Mm-hmm. So it's been a lot of that era music.
Sure.
So what's been stuck in my head from then is just 2 songs, Long, Tall, Sally by Little Richard, and then a little Patsy Cline.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like
Walking After Midnight.
I was going to ask you if there was anything in specific, but like any Patsy Cline is great Patsy Cline, really?
Oh, absolutely. I agree. But those ones seem to come up a lot, and I put them on my liked playlist.
Oh, my.
Yeah, so I jam out to that quite often.
Like, if this were Facebook, you and those songs would be in a relationship now, or at least complicated.
If this was MySpace, it would be in my top 5.
Yeah, with the glitter and everything around it.
Yep, right. I would code it into my MySpace page.
Everybody has a version of Long Tall Sally, but Little Richard is just fire. Like, it's like,
who sings it originally?
Oh, geez, you know what? I don't even know. I know, like, everybody has a version of it, so I couldn't even, off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you who put it out first. But literally everybody has a version of it, and it's a great song. But Little Richard's version is just fire. Yeah, that is. And that's interesting that I think probably just because of Elvis in general, it played 50s stuff for you. Yeah. And we'll get into how diverse this actual Elvis album is. You know, I was wondering when you said that if it was going to play some more diversity that's found on the record.
No.
But apparently Spotify was like, Elvis is the 50s and that's it.
Which I do love the 50s. I have the 50s station on Sirius in the car. And Kyle's always like, what, are you like 100 years old? Like, why is this on here?
Oh, accurate.
All right, we are going to take a break. When we come back, we are going to get into our album review, which is my choice. Hooray! We are going to talk about Elvis as recorded at Madison Square Garden. We come back, I'll get into why I picked it and why I'm bending the rules a little bit and tell you all about what we think of it. You're listening to the Infectious Groove podcast on the Odd Pods Media Network.
Hey, you there. We've got a question for you. Are you tired of clickbait stories and the loudest voices driving discussions in culture and entertainment?
If so, I'm Dylan.
I'm Kendall.
And I'm Corey. And we host the podcast From the Middle. We're middle-class guys living in the middle of America, in the middle chapters of our lives with points of view somewhere in the middle.
We take a more reasonable and centrist approach in our discussions covering genres like comedy, culture, entertainment, and interviews, with really interesting folks like business owners, comic creators, doctors, news anchors, New York Times best-selling illustrators, professional stand-up comics, and more. We really value a relaxed and conversational podcast, one that we hope is so fun and laid back, you'll forget you're not actually hanging out with us.
So search at From the Mid Pod, just like it sounds, or check us out everywhere you can find podcasts.
I'm Rob.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Joe.
I love it.
I think it's kind of meh.
And I've never seen it.
We're keeping up with the Cardassians.
A podcast covering 7 seasons of Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
But that's not it. We go down the wormhole
of pop culture, life, and Garrick.
New episodes every Monday.
On your favorite podcasting platforms. You can also interact with the show on Twitter at CardassiansPod.
And just like the Ferengi, we can't wait to stroke your lobes.
We are back, and it is Russ, Kyle, and Michelle on the Infectious Groove podcast. Going into, if you're a new listener and you heard our 100th episodes and you're wondering what we usually do, one of the things we do in every other episode is an album review. And for this particular one, we rotate through people for choices and whatnot, and this one is mine, so let's get into it.
The Infectious Groove podcast.
Album review.
Oh, I'm sure I'll say something dumb.
So we are going to review Elvis as recorded at Madison Square Garden. Now, I want to see if you guys can take a wild guess on this. This album was recorded obviously at Madison Square Garden in New York City on June 10th, 1972. Do either of you have any idea when the album was released? If the show actually happened on June 10th, 1972.
June 11th.
June 18th. June 18th. This record was released 8 days after the live show was performed, which is crazy for back then. You know, this is not a streaming platform situation. And a little bit impressive. Yeah, it is. And a little bit of background on this was that for that tour, they knew that coming up at Madison Square Garden, they were tuning up to wanting to record those shows specifically for a live album. And so they already had the jackets and for the cassette, 8-track, and LP printed weeks before the show happened because they knew what the set list was going to be, you know, so like the background and the picture of Elvis on the cover is from that tour, but it's from a show 2 weeks before it. So he didn't wear that same suit at the show. Like that's not a picture of him at Madison Square Garden, but it's I think it's from Virginia, but it's a picture of him 2 weeks before the show.
I heard, I don't know if this is true or not, I meant to ask you beforehand, was Elvis a blonde that dyed his hair?
He was, as a matter of fact. Elvis had blonde hair and blue eyes naturally.
Huh. Okay, go on.
I'm not sure what that has to do with the live album from 1972, but I'm sure it'll be relevant in some way, shape, or form. So we always get into why it was that we were doing this record. First and foremost, one of Elvis's band members and one of my favorite drummers ever in the history of drumming passed away earlier this week. I actually woke up to the news Sunday morning that we lost Ronnie Tutt at the age of 83. Because of that, I started listening to the album again. And when I started listening to it, I thought, one of the big reasons why we've knocked out live albums for album reviews is because 9 times out of 10 live albums are just greatest hits packages. Like it's literally just like, here's another way for us to charge you for the hits again, right? And I think you'll both agree that while Elvis does some of his hits on here, this is in no way, shape, or form a greatest hits package. Like
it's not.
No, are you insane? Do you know Elvis had how many Elvis hits are on this record?
I know I knew them all.
Like of his own hits on here, there's
most of these aren't even his songs.
Yeah, they're like all songs.
What now?
Oh, okay. Did you listen to the correct album? Michelle's like, yeah, right here. I'll listen to Elvis's greatest hits.
Yeah, it was weird.
So the reason why I wanted to do the album as a review is because of the profound effect this album had on me personally. And we'll get into more of it when we get to the open discussion of the record. But for me, this album had a huge impact in shaping who I am as a music fan. And I've kind of always wanted to review it, and we've always kind of had that unwritten no live album rule. But then Ronnie Tutt passed away, and as I was listening to the record again, I thought, unbeknownst to Michelle, this is not in any way a greatest hits album. So I thought, you know what, let's go ahead and throw it out there. So that is why we threw it out there. Now, I always ask for what we think the best tracks on the album are. This is another one that when we get to me answering this, I can almost always, for something like this, say almost all of them are the best tracks for me. But Michelle, we'll start with you. If you want to look at the track list for Elvis's greatest hits or whatever it is you listen to, and share with us what your favorite tracks on this are.
Oh, it was Elvis we were supposed to listen to.
Oh, did you just listen to someone else in Madison Square Garden? Ronnie Tutt also drummed for Billy Joel and Neil Diamond. Did you perhaps listen to one of those artists instead?
I think I might have.
Yeah.
So my jams on this album were I like That's All Right, You've Lost That Love and Feeling, and of course Vicious Minds.
Yeah, where he doesn't even say the whole name of the song.
And it's like triple time.
Yeah. So, and actually I was going to save this for the open discussion of the record, but I was reading an interview with Ronnie Tutt from 2009 the other day, and he said that the band was told by the Colonel to speed up the songs on purpose so they could put more songs on the live album and the Colonel could make more money. So that's
why. What difference does it make how many songs? They don't charge you by track, do they?
Yeah, he gets royalties for each track. The Colonel did. He get Elvis's songwriting royalties. So, not Elvis's songwriting royalties, but any song that Elvis covered. It's the reason why Elvis never covered, and I think I've told this story on the show before, but Elvis never covered I Will Always Love You by Dolly Parton because the Colonel had it written into the contract that if Elvis recorded your song, you had to give up your recording rights to it, or your publishing rights. And Dolly Parton, even back then, was like, okay, that's great that it's Elvis, but she stood up for herself and was like, no. So Elvis never recorded that song because Dolly Parton wouldn't let him have that. So any song that Elvis recorded, the Colonel had it set up that Elvis got the publishing rights when really it went into the Colonel's pocket. But Ronnie Tutt was saying that's why they were instructed to speed up the tempos so that they could fit more songs onto the album and the Colonel could get paid more.
Huh.
So
ain't that some shit?
I know that comes as a surprise that the Colonel did something like that, but it happened.
Very shocking.
Yeah, I know. Kyle, what did you have for some of your favorite tracks on the record?
I had such a hard time trying to pick out favorites because they all go together so well as like a whole show.
It's like a clinic in putting a set list together, isn't it?
Yes, it absolutely is. And so I don't know. I like how everything was done from the first track to the last track.
That's one thing. What you're pointing out is one of the things that I love about this album so much is that for anybody who's listening to this episode and has not heard this album yet, if you haven't heard it prior to listening to this episode, if I were to tell you that Elvis Presley covers Three Dog Night, The Righteous Brothers, CCR, and Dusty Springfield, all within 4 or 5 tracks of each other, you would be like, that doesn't go together. But what you said, Kyle, like it sure as shit does. Like that song's just one after the other.
It does.
Yeah, they work perfect. For me, I picked 2 of those 3 that are covers that I think are absolutely, you would never think Elvis would do, but he tears the hell out of them on here. One is the Three Dog Night cover, Never Been to Spain. Just killer. Like he just absolutely takes everything up to a new notch. The Dusty Springfield cover of You Don't Have to Say You Love Me, I think is absolutely fantastic. And then the version of Hound Dog that's on this record, I think is just crazy in such a good way. Like the way it's almost like disco for the first, minute.
I almost mentioned that, but I couldn't pick it as a favorite, but for the same reason that you're talking about it, is like, I just found it very, very it like sucked me in because it was so interesting.
Well, yeah, because he's like, this is a guy who's got to be bored as hell singing Hound Dog in any fashion, right? So I have to assume when they were doing the rehearsals for this tour, it was like, guys, we have got to spice that song up. You know what I mean? Like we got to find a way and it's just so funky and different. And then I love when it just stops and they're like, okay, here's the version of Hound Dog you want to hear. And then you hear the crowd absolutely lose their damn mind, when they go into the faster version of it. So it's just incredible for me. I do have a stinker on this record. And I will explain why. But I will ask y'all first. Michelle, I'm not sure if you're in a position to speak or not, but if you are, I will ask for your stinker first. Stinkers?
I don't have any stinkers per se. I have songs that I don't care for, but the ones that I didn't love, the only one, that I didn't like was the American Trilogy. It just didn't fit for me, and I didn't love it.
Yeah, I love that song, but that's not, my favorite version is not on this record, but that's one of those things. I think that's more for like a diehard Elvis fan. Like if you're a diehard Elvis fan, you just know American Trilogy and you kind of expect it in a 70s set. But I understand what you're saying. It's probably the only part of the set list that doesn't like just glide, it was the
only time when I listened to the record, every time I got to that part, I would be like, what song is this? I don't like it every time. Like I listened to it like 4 or 5 times and I was like, okay, so then like I said, I don't hate it. I just felt like it ruined the flow for me.
The version of that, by the way, is the version from Aloha, which was like 7 months after the show. He did a version of it that was like, okay, well, you should never sing that again. It's like the best version of it ever. Kyle, what do you got? Did you have any stinkers on the record?
I don't have any actual stinkers, but I will agree that American Trilogy does disrupt the smooth glide that you will find throughout the rest of the album.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, it's interesting because what's weird is for me, having listened to so many Elvis shows from that year and the year before, it's like as soon as the way Trilogy starts with the hammer on guitar part, it's almost like if you go to GNR and they start Sweet Child of Mine, you're just like, oh, for sure. Yeah. We knew we were going to hear this. You know what I mean? Like, so that's why Trilogy works for me. It's just because it's like, oh, well, at some point, you're going to hear that song,
Right.
So for me, the one that counts as a stinker on this is The Impossible Dream. Oh Lord, I do not like that song at all. And The Impossible Dream was the theme song from Man of La Mancha, which at the time was a huge Broadway hit and was being made into a motion picture. So I get why he did it, because it was an extremely popular song and he's in New York and that's where Broadway is. But that song for me is the one song in the whole set where like it's very, very by the numbers. Like I would be surprised if Elvis isn't just singing the lyrics off of a sheet for it. You know what I mean?
I didn't hate it, but I didn't know it was from something.
Yeah. And that's the thing is the rest of the music in this entire album is very, very, very timeless, and like, again, songs like You Don't Have to Say You Love Me, You've Lost That Love and Feeling, like these are, For the Good Times, Funny How Time Slips Away. These are all timeless love songs. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, here's the theme song it would be like Garth doing a show full of timeless Garth music. And then in the middle of his live album, just being like, here's Shallow. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? So like
I would listen to that.
Right. You would hear today, but in 30 years, somebody would listen to it and be like, why is that song in the middle of this? You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't make sense to go there. That's why I and I don't really care for the song all that much. So it just seems to me like it was just there for formality. Whereas, this is a guy who we've talked about on the show before. At this time in his life, Elvis was distraught over his divorce. His divorce was final, but he was still very much in love with his ex-wife, and things were never going to work out between the two of them. And so that's why you get songs like Funny How Time Slips Away, I Can't Stop Loving You, You Lost That Love and Feeling. And it's a guy who like is totally feeling everything about what he's singing. And then all of a sudden in the middle of it is like show tunes. You know what I mean? Like that's,
yeah.
That's why I have a problem with that particular song. Having said that, what's funny is this was my mom's favorite song on the record. Like, I don't know if she just loved the play or the movie or what, but she just loved that song. So maybe that's a Shallow thing, Michelle. Like maybe she loved that song a lot or something. And that's why
I bet that was it.
Resonated with her. Yeah. So, as far as open discussion goes on this record, the first thing I think first and foremost is that this is not just an Elvis Presley live album. His band is on fire through this entire record. Like every single person you hear playing music is doing it to the absolute best of their capabilities.
I would agree. I feel like the whole thing is like it's a production like that you don't really see, I feel like, nowadays when you get live records.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Or see a concert, actually.
You have to remember that if you're listening to an Elvis live album at Madison Square Garden, you know, this is pre-floor monitors, pre-in-ear monitors. Like, these people are all going off like their natural ability, you know, to like hear and feel each other musician-wise. So to set the stage for you. So if Elvis Presley's standing in the middle of the stage, directly behind him, he has his 5-piece rhythm band. Okay, so, you know, drummer, bass player, 2 guitar players, and the keyboard player, right? To his left behind them, he's got 2 separate vocal groups, a full female group and a full male group. And then behind his rhythm group is an entire orchestra, an entire live orchestra.
So just a small production.
Right. And again, absolutely no in-ears, no floor monitors. These people are all going off of what they can hear naturally of each other in a 20,000 seat arena with, as you hear through this record, people losing their minds, you know, screaming through the whole thing. I mean, to say that you have to be tight as a band to play as well as they do on this record would be an understatement, you know? So to me, it gets even more impressive when you think of it that way, you know? I was going
to say, not only is his band on fire, but he is on fire as well throughout the entire thing.
Oh, vocally, Elvis? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he is more or less just laying down the law. And one thing I didn't mention is that this is one of 5 shows that Elvis did at Madison Square Garden over 2 days. June 9th and 10th, he played 3 shows at Madison Square Garden on the 9th, 3 sold out Madison Square Garden shows on Friday. And then on
in a row?
Yeah, he did like noon, 4, and 8 or something like that. The shows were. And then on Saturday the 10th, they did 2 shows. They did an afternoon show and an evening show. So this dude sold out Madison Square Garden 5 times in 2 days. And the show that you're hearing here is, by the way, this is important to me. This is not a compilation of the best tracks of all 5. This is the evening show from June 10th. So it's just the last show straight through as it happened.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
To put that in perspective, there's a ton of artists that don't ever sell out Madison Square Garden, let alone 5 times in 2 days.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yep. And then the reason why earlier this week when I said to you guys, hey, this is what I want to review, and you guys said, yeah, we're cool with doing that, you know, even though it's a live album, and I sent you a link and said, please listen to this, is because although this was released in 72, 8 days after the show happened, in the mid-90s, they did release the afternoon show from June 10th. And it's funny because it's mostly the same set list. They do a couple of extra songs in the afternoon that they cut before the evening, but the band is like, and you can tell that like they're kind of getting the jitters out in the afternoon. Like there's some like funny things that happen in the afternoon show, some jokes that are made that are like not made at the evening, you know, when they're like, oh boy, we got one more shot to get this right, you know, like.
Wait, maybe I did listen to the wrong one.
Nope. You didn't. No, if you listen to Elvis as recorded in Madison Square Garden, then with him in the white suit on the cover?
Yes.
Okay, then that's the evening show. And what's
funny,
funny,
with you now.
The afternoon show is just called An Afternoon in the Garden. And what's funny is the picture of him on the cover of that is from that day. The show
confusing.
Yeah, the show you were supposed to listen to has a picture of him from 2 weeks before the show. The show you were not supposed to listen to has a picture of him from that day.
Good to know.
Right. One other thing I want to talk about with this particular record, and I want to share this with you guys and the audience, and I'm sure at some point over the years I've told you this, Michelle, but I don't think I've ever told you, Kyle. So this album is very famous because it's I think it's the first Elvis live album where you hear Also Sprach Zarathustra for his intro music, which, if you're wondering what that is by that convoluted name, it's more commonly known as the theme from 2001: A Space Odyssey. That went on to be famous for that's the song that intros Elvis. And Michelle, do you remember if I've ever told you the story about how Elvis came into that the Space Odyssey theme as his entrance music?
I feel like this is a story I have not heard.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a good one. So, you know, there's a whole track on this record where Elvis takes the time to introduce his entire band, like one by one.
Yes.
Okay. Kyle, I think you're going to love this. So Elvis's orchestra conductor, Joe Gershio, who he introduces on the album, took his wife to see A Space Odyssey in the theater. And when the theme played for 2001 A Space Odyssey, Joe, being a orchestra conductor by profession, was sitting there very intently listening to that piece of orchestration. And Joe Gershio's wife leaned over to him and said, "Jesus Christ, you'd think Elvis was walking in the room."
Oh, that's awesome.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And Joe Gershio was like, "Shit, I have to write something down." And literally from that moment on, he went back, because they used to just, if you listen to Elvis live albums prior to 72, they would literally just, like, Roddy Tutt would click off and the band would just start playing. So when you, at the end of Space Odyssey, when it's like, dun dun, and then doom, 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 like Tut starts playing, he would just do that, and the audience would be like, "Oh, here we go," and then it'd go dun 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 dun. Elvis would just walk out and start singing. So then Joe Gershio comes up and is like, "Hey guys, my wife had an idea."
I'm sure he took credit for it.
Well, every version of the story I've ever heard is him saying that it was his wife's idea. So,
okay then.
And very quickly, because I've run long as I can do talking about Elvis, I do want to say that this album had such an immense impact on me as a music listener. And although this is retroactive for you guys, and you guys are listening to it now for review purposes, going, like Kyle said, like, holy crap, Elvis was on fire for this. And Michelle remembering that it wasn't a greatest hits album, like all the things that you guys are thinking. When I was a kid, I bought this record at 3 years old. And, yes, he does That's All Right. It opens with That's All Right. But then after that, like I mentioned earlier, the dude covers CCR, Three Dog Night, and Dusty Springfield and the Righteous Brothers, like, right in a row. So the album opened me up to, like, tons of different music that I never would have heard if he had done what most artists do, which is just like, here's my greatest hits. You know what I mean? Like, if he had done that, then I would have just been like, oh, I know all these Elvis songs now, but because he was so eclectic in what he was putting in the set list, it opened me up to a ton of different music,
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm going to have to look up which ones are covers.
Honestly, the only songs Elvis is known for that are on this record, and this is off the top of my head, but That's All Right, Hound Dog, he does the world's fastest version of Love Me Tender on here, and Suspicious Minds. I think that's about it. I think everything else is...
Heartbreak Hotel?
Oh, yeah, no, there's a very fast version of Heartbreak Hotel on there.
Yeah, it's 1 minute and 44 seconds.
Oh, yeah. Brought to you by the Colonel. So, Colonel was like, yeah, you can do that, but you got to do it real quick.
Oh, and American Trilogy, didn't you say that was his?
Yeah, I mean, he was more like, he was known for that, the trilogy piece. Yeah, he became known for, he ended up having a big hit with it, but it was after this. So anyways, we always go into a couple of different things at the end of these episodes. Would you buy this album? Not only would I buy this album, but it was the first album I ever bought in my life, and I've bought it nearly every time it's ever been reissued or part of a box set, or they just, for no reason whatsoever, issue it again. I'm like, sure, I'll buy another copy of Madison Square Garden. Why not? Like, there's never been any bonus tracks or anything. We got the whole show right off the first time, but I just rebuy it every time that they reproduce it.
As you do.
As you do. I am the target customer that they're going after. Michelle, would you buy this album?
Yes.
Oh, sweet. I heard you got a gift card to a record store. I could take you there if you want to spend it. I think we found it.
I mean, don't rush me. I've only had the gift card for going on 6 months, so
right.
Let me make my decision.
Quick follow-up question, and I sometimes ask a variant of this. So for me, this is always my go-to when someone says, like, oh, I don't know that much about Elvis, or I never really got into Elvis. I'm like, this is the one you need to hear. Would you recommend this to anybody else who is like, I don't know, what Elvis should I listen to? Or would you, an honest question, like, or would you just be like, just get like a 50s hits and be done?
Well, since I thought most of these songs were his, I mean, I probably would have to do some research before I just recommend it to strangers.
You can't just go all willy-nilly.
I mean, I would tell people to listen to it, but I wouldn't be like, this is all Elvis's songs. Totally listen to this.
Well, no, but that's, for me, that's why I would recommend it, because it's got songs people know, but then it's got stuff that they would never expect them to. Well, everyone but you would never expect them to do.
True.
Did you just hear Three Dog Night on the radio when you were a kid, like never been to Spain, and you're just like, oh, I don't know, maybe that's Elvis?
I don't think I've ever heard it.
That's a hell of a song. That's a great song. Or wait, You've Lost That Love and Feeling? Were you just like, I don't know, maybe that's Elvis?
It's not Elvis?
No, believe it or not, You've Lost That Love and Feeling by the Righteous Brothers is by, and I want you to wait for it, the Righteous Brothers.
The More You Know.
Whom Elvis was not a part of.
Yeah. Elvis was not a righteous brother.
Well, he was a righteous brother, right?
For sure. And also, Michelle, you just made me think I'm going to get the drop for that. The More You Know sound. I'm going to make a drop for that. Kyle,
we really need that.
Kyle, both questions to you. Would you buy this record?
Yes, absolutely. And you've played this record for me, and you've played other live Elvis stuff for me, and I find this record in particular important because up until hearing Elvis live, I hated live music recorded.
Oh, right on.
So you kind of opened my eyes to listening to what a live show could actually sound like if it was done properly and the person who was doing it actually cared about what they were doing.
Yeah, because, well, first of all, I'm grateful that happened. And also, was it mostly what we were talking about before, where live albums usually are people just going through the motions and being like, here's my hit?
Yeah, and it's usually all their hits, and then they would pipe in crowd noise if there wasn't enough crowd noise, and just all kinds of ridiculous stuff that used to just irritate me about listening to live albums.
Yeah,
I figured I could just, even though I was not a huge fan of going to shows, I figured, like, why would I want to sit here and listen to this in my living room when I could actually go and see this in person?
Mm-hmm.
It just seemed silly to me. But then when I listened to this, not only is it amazing, but like I was saying about the Frank Sinatra stuff, listening to this album literally transports you back to 1972 at Madison Square Garden with everyone going apeshit and him just killing everything.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that about them having to pipe crowd noise in for a lot of other live albums, because first of all, that's very, very, very accurate statement. There are some live albums out there, I'm looking at you, Kiss, that were recorded in the studio and all of the crowd noise is fake on the live album. But with this one, if anything, I feel like the people recording it had to like dial the crowd back, like they were like, we have got to calm these women down.
Yeah, and then I like it doesn't happen a ton on this record, but like other records that he does, like he's very interactive with the crowd, and it's just, I like that kind of stuff. And then I started listening to more live music from other bands I like after listening to this stuff, and I would find stuff like that where they're interacting with the crowd, and like then I started to really like hearing live music, on a record versus at a concert.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. I'm glad that came out of it. So that's definitely an endorsement from you. And you would recommend other people, even if someone says the same thing you did, like, I don't know, why would I want to listen to a live record? Like they should definitely check this one out.
Yeah, and then I would tell them all of the shit that you told us about how he made it like absolutely, how they all had to be absolutely perfect at what they were doing because of the time, that this was done. And stuff like this doesn't happen now.
Yeah, that's for damn sure.
I tend to spout off things I learned from Russ all the time to make myself look smart.
Yay. Positive influence I'm having. I don't know why this just flew into my head, but one thing I want to share real quick is I was saying the afternoon show has like some mistakes and some fun that's being had. Kyle, I think what triggered it is you said something about Elvis just being on fire for this. And the afternoon show, so he only plays acoustic guitar on one song at every single show. He comes out and plays acoustic guitar in the opening song. And at the end of the opener, he always takes the acoustic off and hands it off to a guy. And in the afternoon show, Elvis was so ramped up and so excited for the show that he like took the guitar off and just threw it across the stage, and like no one caught it because no one was waiting for it. So on the live album, the afternoon version of the show, if you go listen to it, when they end, That's All Right, you hear this like crash and feedback, and then Elvis just goes, "Oh, it just died," and then they go right into the next song. he's just like, what?
I think also on this record, there's a couple like, "Hey Mama, all right, Mama's" in there, and like when I'm listeling to that, I'm like, "Oh, this fucking guy!" Like he's just like, there's only one Elvis.
To be that dude for one day, man. Yeah. All right, let's move on to our rankings. And I'm going to, usually the person who picks the album goes last, but I'm going to go first because I'm so holding out hope that Michelle's going to give this higher than a 4 or a 5. So I'm going to have Michelle go last on this. For me, even though I have a personal stinker on this record, for everything else that this record brings to the table and its influence on my life, this is an absolute 10 out of 10 record for me. Like, I mean, just even with a stinker of a song, everything else makes up for it. So for me, this is an easy And for me, things like what you just said, Kyle, about how it even made you a fan of live music, and that's to me, that's all feathers in this record's cap. It's going to go downhill from here. I started out at a 10. Kyle, what do you got for a ranking on this?
I gave it a 9 because
I think that's your highest rating so far.
Well, see, I think that probably is.
No, I think didn't we all give Callio or King's Leon 10 out of 10?
Let me have this. So Kyle, tell me more about your highest rated record.
This is like the upper echelon of live records. Yeah. And since listening to this, I've listened to a lot of different live records, and nothing really compares to, it's just a perfected live record. And he did it. He was on fire. His band was on fire. The entire thing was on fire. The environment that it was done in, he's coming off the high of doing this for 2 days, 5 shows in 2 days.
Which it lends itself well to going, okay, well, they've got these songs down, but then they also managed to make it sound fresh. Like it doesn't sound like people that just did this 5 times in 2 days, you know?
I don't think that I've heard another, and of course there's a million live records that I haven't heard, but I don't think that I personally heard a live record that is as good as this one.
Oh, high praise. High praise. I'm excited to hear this. This is great. Like to be clear, I wasn't like, oh, Kyle's going to hate this, but like this is extremely high praise, and I'm really excited to hear this. If nothing else, if people are listening to this episode just because they like us and they're like, oh, I'm not really an Elvis fan, I hope that this is making someone be like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and give this record a shot and see what the story is. Michelle, end us on a big bummer. What's your rating 1 to 10 on this record?
8.
Oh, I'm excited. That's at least 2 higher than I thought you were going to give it. I thought you were going to say a 6.
Yeah, and it's really just 2 points for American Trilogy because it just literally ruins the flow of the entire record.
So I just need to be clear. Anybody who is listening to this that is an Elvis fan and is a fan of his live material is just raging right now. In feedback, how we talked about people hearing you, looking at their phone, and then shitting. You've caused shit. I want you to know that.
Damn it.
I will show you the live version of Trilogy from Aloha, which is like 6-7 months after this sometime, and you'll at least see why people revere the song so much. But I do hear your point on this. Like I say, even for me, the song is a formality when it happens.
Yeah.
But 2 points. Damn. That's ice cold.
Sorry.
Don't apologize to me. So that is our wrap up on the Elvis as recorded at Madison Square Garden, which 2 of the 3 of us are very clear is not a greatest hits record. Michelle needs to do research, so we'll follow up on that sometime.
I'll get back to you.
As we always do when we're getting ready to leave, I always tell you a little bit about what's going on in the future. I do not have plans, nor does anyone in my direct circle have plans of leaving the state anytime soon. Actually, I lied. I have a trip in November, but anyways, up until then, we will all be the worst. I am the worst. Up until then, we will all be here in person, and that'll be fun. And I just want everyone to know Michelle figured out Skype by herself tonight, which was amazing.
I did it.
And another thing too, you guys can't see this because I'm seeing her on camera, but Michelle has been taking care of a baby for over half of this episode, which I think is awesome. She is doing her best to do more than one thing at a time. When she's made it clear in the history of the show, sometimes she can't do one thing at once. So the fact that you've been
very often cannot do one thing at once.
Yeah, the fact that you've been doing 2 things at once has been amazing. For next week's topic, we do have a fun one that I think is going to be neat, which is one of the goals when we started the show, besides album reviews and our opinions on things, was we were going to, because Michelle and I have a long history of going to tons of concerts, and Kyle is excited to come along with that and start his, really get into his concert journey. So one of our big things with the show was we thought, we go to concerts all the time. We can always report on concerts that we go to. And then a worldwide pandemic happened and concerts were not allowed. So Kyle and I got to go to one concert went at the very top of the show, and then we went like 1.5 years with no concerts. So all 3 of us have been to several concerts in different combinations of the 3 of us since things have started to open back up. So next week, we're going to kind of have an open discussion between the 3 of us, not really specifically on one particular show we went to, but just talk about our experiences now that the world is a little more open and what it was like being at venues that either had certain policies in place or not, or what the crowds were like or things like that. So I think it's going to be a discussion. I want to be clear for the audience or anybody that doesn't want it. We try to stray very hard away from politics and controversial subjects. We don't plan on having a big, huge discussion about those policies and things. It's going to be more about like the environment at the show and what that was like for all of us and other concert goers around and everything. So I think it's going to be a fun discussion, and it won't be anything that you're hearing everywhere else on the news or that you're seeing in social media. This is going to be a fun, open discussion like we always have on this show. Like we always say about this time, without music, life would be a mistake. Bye.
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 The Infectious Groove podcast is hosted by Russ Robinson, Kyle Wimple, and Michelle Koselecki. Produced and edited by Russ Robinson. Intro and outro music composed by Chris Kimmel. Opening credits read by Stacey Robinson. Recorded with a Rode Podcaster Pro and Rode Pod mics.